Welcome. We explore how a shattered global treaty birthed the world's first invisible cyber weapon. In 2003, European powers offered billions to halt a highly dangerous nuclear program. The famous Paris Agreement brought a brief moment of hope, sealing the underground facilities. But this fragile peace was merely a dark tactical deception to buy time for the ultimate goal. When diplomacy failed, a terrifying digital war silently began in the dark shadows. It was a tense era. The world watched as three major European powers made their bold move. The foreign ministers of Britain, France, and Germany stepped onto the hot Middle Eastern tarmac. They carried heavy leather briefcases filled with lucrative economic and trade agreements. Their urgent mission was completely clear. They needed to stop the alarming expansion of nuclear research. At the time, intelligence agencies warned of a rapidly advancing uranium project. European leaders believed that massive financial incentives could buy long-lasting global peace. This was a high-stakes geopolitical chess match, and the opening moves were incredibly tense. The Middle Eastern delegation welcomed them with polite smiles and firm, calculated handshakes. Behind those formal greetings hid a profound historical distrust of Western intervention. According to newly declassified files, the initial closed-door meetings were extremely difficult. The E3 diplomats laid out generous proposals on the heavy oak conference tables. They promised technology transfers, modern aircraft, and deep economic integration. In return, they demanded a complete and verifiable halt to all uranium enrichment. The tension in the room was palpable as translators carefully relayed these heavy demands. For days, the two sides argued over technical definitions and the sacred rights of nations. The local diplomats fiercely defended their right to peaceful domestic energy production. Yet Western satellites had already captured images of massive, hidden underground bunkers. These concrete fortresses suggested grand ambitions far beyond simple power generation. The diplomats knew they were walking a tightrope between diplomatic success and total war. A military strike was considered too dangerous, risking a catastrophic regional conflict. Therefore, the E3 team pushed their financial leverage to the absolute maximum limit. They offered to lift crippling trade embargoes that had starved the local economy for years. It was a classic strategy of using the generous carrot instead of the destructive stick. Slowly, the relentless diplomatic pressure and promise of billions shifted the conversation. The Middle Eastern representatives asked for specific clarifications on the investment plans. Excited whispers of a potential breakthrough echoed loudly through the marble diplomatic halls. The world held its breath, hoping this delicate dialogue could prevent a devastating crisis. By late October, a surprising consensus finally emerged from the grueling negotiations. This historic victory created the famous Paris Agreement of 2004. Bright flashes from hundreds of press cameras lit up the ornate French diplomatic reception room. The European ministers smiled warmly, believing they had secured a monumental triumph. The Middle Eastern delegation officially agreed to suspend their most sensitive research. In exchange, The West promised to facilitate entry into the World Trade Organization. Almost immediately, the frozen European investments began flowing back into the country. International business executives rushed to sign lucrative oil and manufacturing deals. Meanwhile, the International Atomic Energy Agency deployed its elite inspector teams. These inspectors traveled to the remote, heavily guarded facilities deep in the desert. Armed with heavy metal pliers, the inspectors applied tamper-proof lead seals to the giant steel doors. They installed advanced surveillance cameras to monitor the silent, dormant centrifuge cascades. According to official records, the enrichment process was completely halted for the time being. The global community breathed a collective sigh of relief as the immediate threat faded. Politicians in London, Paris, and Berlin proudly touted the power of soft diplomacy. They believed they had successfully neutralized a major threat without firing a single shot. The newly established trust seemed to pave the steady way for a stable and prosperous Middle East. Western engineers arrived to help build purely civilian nuclear power stations. The heavy economic sanctions were gradually eased, bringing foreign goods back to local markets. It felt like the dawn of a new cooperative era between two historically opposed worlds. The E3 ministers frequently referenced this success in their domestic political campaigns. They argued that rational dialogue could solve even the most complex international disputes. Yet modern historians argue that this period was built on a dangerous illusion. The written treaty contained critical ambiguities about the duration of the suspension. It was a temporary freeze, not a permanent dismantling of the scientific infrastructure. The underground laboratories remained fully intact, quietly waiting in the cold darkness. The brilliant minds behind the project were simply reassigned to theoretical physics research. The grand diplomatic chessboard was paused, but the players were already planning their next deadly moves. If you were the negotiator, would you trust an enemy who simply paused their weapons program? The fundamental problem was a massive, irreconcilable gap in strategic perception. European leaders viewed the Paris Agreement as the first step towards total disarmament. They expected the temporary suspension to soon become a permanent, binding global treaty. Conversely, the opposing side viewed the fragile deal as a necessary, brilliant tactical retreat. They needed crucial time to master complex centrifuge technology without facing airstrikes. The financial packages provided a vital lifeline to their struggling domestic economy. Behind closed doors, their top scientists continued to refine the theoretical mathematics. They quietly procured advanced materials through complex, untraceable black market networks. By early 2005, Western intelligence agencies started detecting troubling signals. New satellite images revealed suspicious construction near the sealed military sites. Intercepted messages hinted at secret efforts to acquire highly specialized equipment. The E3 ministers received these classified briefings in dimly lit, secure underground rooms. The joy of the Paris Agreement quickly vanished into a deep and anxious paranoia. They soon realized their generous financial incentives might have accidentally funded the threat. Urgent and frantic phone calls were immediately made between the capitals of Europe and the Middle East. Western diplomats demanded immediate, unrestricted access to all suspected locations. The Middle Eastern authorities firmly rejected these demands, citing their sovereign rights. They argued that the atomic inspectors had already verified the suspension of enrichment.
This is non-negotiable.
The tone of the diplomatic letters shifted from polite cooperation to aggressive warnings. The carefully constructed bridge of global trust was rapidly crumbling under the weight of deception. Western leaders threatened to refer the massive crisis to the UN Security Council. The dark threat of devastating global sanctions loomed heavily over the stalled negotiations. Meanwhile, domestic politics in the Middle East were undergoing a radical, seismic shift. The moderate diplomats who signed the Paris deal were facing intense internal criticism. Hardline factions accused them of selling out the nation's pride for empty European promises. They argued possessing nuclear weapons was the only true guarantee of national survival. The fragile diplomatic window was rapidly closing as extreme voices gained ultimate power. The entire world was hurtling toward a dangerous precipice, and the brakes were completely broken. The final, fatal blow to the diplomatic process arrived with a dramatic change in leadership. In late 2005, a fiercely conservative, uncompromising president took control. He viewed the Western negotiations as a humiliating surrender of national sovereignty. His first major decree was an absolute rejection of the existing international treaties. The order echoed down to the heavily fortified underground complexes deep in the desert. Heavily armed guards violently escorted the shocked atomic inspectors out of the remote buildings. With heavy bolt cutters, technicians ruthlessly destroyed the strong official lead security seals. The heavy, thick metal chains fell to the cold concrete floor, echoing the tragic death of the peace process. Deep inside the massive halls, the towering arrays of silver centrifuges were powered back on. They began spinning at supersonic speeds, emitting a terrifying mechanical whine. Years of careful European diplomacy instantly vanished into a cloud of toxic dust. The entire Western world reacted with absolute shock and growing international panic. All diplomatic channels were permanently severed by the furious European leaders. The dark threat of a devastating military strike loomed heavily over the entire tense region. Yet launching a massive aerial bombardment was considered far too strategically risky. Starting a conventional war would certainly trigger a massive global energy crisis. Desperate times demanded a completely revolutionary and covert approach to warfare. Deep within highly hidden intelligence agencies, a brilliant and terrifying plan was formed. They engineered a highly sophisticated, invisible weapon made entirely of pure code. This malicious software was designed to infiltrate the secret, isolated underground systems. It bypassed impenetrable physical defenses, using a simple USB flash drive. The silent digital virus slowly took control of the spinning metallic centrifuges. Unsuspecting engineers watched helplessly as their precious machinery ripped itself apart. This unprecedented cyber attack permanently altered the nature of global conflict. The era of traditional battlefield combat had suddenly evolved into something unseen. A failed diplomatic global treaty ultimately birthed the most dangerous weapon of our time. The devastating, invisible Stuxnet worm proved that lines of computer code could destroy real steel. The world would never again view international security in the exact same naive way. Was the Grand Treaty's sudden failure just the inevitable result of deep global ambition? Or could strong European leadership have completely stopped the dawn of cyber warfare? Tell us below. If you truly enjoyed this historical deep dive today, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.